I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through! It's just gonna solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lures, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Amblet, immediately goes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
It's been a long time since these words have been uttered, but finally today, an EU Diamond Champion will be crowned. It's only for the midseason, but the midseason is normally a pretty good indicator of where we're gonna go. I am Megalas, that is Shadowfang, for a lovely finals matchup here for you between Kiira and GGTD. How you doing, Shadow?
Oh, I'm doing great. Honestly, looking forward to seeing some EU gameplay. I haven't gotten to cast any EU games yet this season myself, so I want to see if they're airing towards any sort of different compositions than what I've been seeing over on the NA side for CGL this season.
Compositions, they're always the name of the game, and the chances to see a lot of different things are high, especially now going into this one. Let's go with the facts, with what we know. Kiira so far untouched in the Diamond division, only, not only regular season, but also in this bracket, obviously coming through. GGTD has 1 loss on the season, and Shadow, you wouldn't believe it, it was to Kiira that 1 loss has come through. So already I think we have a budding rivalry ready to go here.
No, absolutely. And I think if I remember right from looking, GGTD took the only map that's even been taken off of Kiira so far. So they did take 1 map. It was 3-1. I believe it was in week 2. So been a little bit of time since then. We can maybe see if GGTD has managed to make up some of that ground. And what better place to try and make up that ground than on Ilios, which is going to be our first map tonight.
First map to start from finals. Everything after that map and mode decided by the losers of the previous map. So it's going to be an intense series. Lots of choices that could determine the battlefield. But before we can get fully into Ilios, we have to know where the bans are gonna go first here. Now, like you said, potentially some, interesting picks and stuff could come out, so we'll have to see where these bans end up falling.
Yeah, and it's always tough to say off the bat. Map 1, I feel like, is one of the harder maps to really do a ban on. It seems more often than not, teams will just go for a general rule of thumb type of ban. Like, on map 1, we're always going to try and get Ana. I said that as it happened. All right, that was very surprising. But just as a general rule of thumb, they would they would like to ban something like an Ana, which we now know is about to come out here. And then if you're Kiira, probably I would imagine some sort of tank pick that you just don't want to see is going to come out here. Maybe potentially a Wrecking Ball. I know Wrecking Ball is really good right now, but what are you thinking about this, Megalas?
I mean, Wrecking Ball is an amazing shout out. You think of dive when you think of some of these Ilios maps. So taking some of those dive options out of the picture, depending on what you're comfortable with, could be an option. But it seems like tanks are safe for now, as Sojourn will be the ban on the side of Kiira, not wanting to deal with that long hit scan option here. So you're going to have to see a lot more Ashe, Cassidy, potentially even the Widowmaker coming out on Ruins. Could make for a very interesting setup here between these teams.
No, it really could, and that's a surprisingly early pick to me on the Sojourn. I feel like the Sojourn would typically be something you would see reserved for later on in the game, once you've sort of determined, once one side is really kind of determined, like, hey, our Sojourn is losing out on this duel more often than not, let's get this pick out of here. But getting rid of it super early just, I guess, means Kiira probably feels more comfortable on picks that aren't the Sojourn, I would have to imagine, at the very least on Ilios.
Yeah, and so now, we'll have to see how they affect both of these rosters. Throwing up on the screen first, that undefeated squad. Kiira looking strong right now. You got Lemon Sauce, Azila, How to Draw, Lamani, and Smarty on this line. And surprisingly, from the little bit I've gotten to see of this team, people have been telling me that Smarty is the one to watch out for on the backline, being able to provide not just the healing, but some of the kills that you just really wouldn't expect. And so that can be an X factor in these matchups.
Oh, it can be huge when your support player is just fragging out like incredibly well. It makes it feel like there's 6 players again on the field somehow, because so much damage is just being output when your support is really just in there like that.
Exactly, but their opponents on the other side are no slouches. You got Crumble and Palm Freak, Captain Sins on that tank, Nobody, and Big Shrimpin on that support line. It's interesting culmination of names here. If I'm not mistaken, that's actually a Crumble we might know here in the casting booth for a time or two. So it's a very well-rounded roster, to say the least.
No, absolutely, and I mean, I'm a big fan of Big Shrimpin', and a quick correction as well while we're thinking about this. Map number 1 is going to be Oasis, not Ilios, so we're going to be going to Oasis for map number 1.
For once, I can say blame Headrimmer, and that would be right, as Headrimmer's our producer for today. Listen, you know what? Oasis just as good as... actually, Oasis kind of changes up the dynamic of those bands. I now really like that Sojourn band coming out from Kiira. I mean, Soj is amazing on all 3 points. Soj is amazing on a lot of points in the game, but especially here on Oasis, right? There's so many interesting little angles and stuff that the Sojourn can sort of dominate. So to force that into potentially another hit scan or something like that is going to be very, very fun to watch.
Well, and it also makes me begin to think that potentially Kiira might want to play a dive composition of some sort, and they don't want to deal with the Sojourn sliding away. Like, because it's so much easier to try and dive on an Ashe, a Cass, even a Soldier to a certain extent than it is to deal with that Sojourn. That slide can just get you so much mobility.
The mobility indeed here, but at this point, these teams, what they run is going to be decided in the spawn room here. We are loading into Oasis. It looks like we are out on University first, based on that little cliff shot. No, wait, this is not University. This is Garden, 1000%. Which, fun fact, there's like 9 different points in the game called Garden across different maps. So if you forget that this one's called Garden, I don't blame you.
No, it's definitely an understandable thing to see. And GGTD looking to run a Sigma-based composition, getting some BAP Zen with the Torb Ash. Meanwhile, it looks like Kiira is going to be running this Wrecking Ball dive, and I would guess, yeah, Tracer Echo. This is going to be a real interesting matchup of these two teams right now.
Poke versus dive. The dive's going to want to go fast here. Meanwhile, GGTD on this poke going to do their best to get set up, but already you're seeing a dive initiation coming through here. It's going to be a slam onto the high ground. Some good stickies as well. Is already going to force the immortality field. Nobody so incredibly low with another roll through. Both supports missing from the fight is now means that GGTD are going to have to backtrack and rethink this engagement.
And I mean, yeah, How to Draw doing such a great job of just rolling through the entire team over and over again. And Wrecking Ball just does so much damage when you're just bouncing around everybody like that. I mean, you can see How to Draw's got the most ult charge of anybody in the lobby right now. Probably going to build up to these mines in this next fight because the GGTD squad is going to mostly want to stay together. So Ball's going to just continue to hit them all over and over again.
Yeah, especially when you're playing this poke composition, they want to stay grouped. They don't want to go anywhere fancy. They just have to get set up on this high ground. If they can, it can be a very lethal composition, but that is a big if in this situation. So now we are watching out here. The roll through comes through once again, but How to Draw is going to be alive for the time being. And now finally the Ash is getting to peek out and finds Lamani's head is going to go down to the Echo, focusing be the Echo. Lemon Sauce actually getting 2 for their trouble. Now with the Torbjorn turret taken down, the Tracer feels free to roam, trying to get onto that Baptiste. Ultimately has to hide for a minute, only 31 HP. Breaks the immortality field just as nobody goes down. Crumble manages to kill that Tracer, but it seems like it's just too little too late, as now GGTD is going to have to go back to spawn again.
And it was honestly not even an expensive fight for the side of Kiira. You get the duplicate out, but that's it, really. You still got the minefields and the pulse bomb available to you, and GGTD doesn't really have anything. They're going to build up to the molten core, but that's not going to do a whole lot with this composition. I don't think, at least.
You'll have to see where that value in lies with the molten core. Could be a good way to surround point. That pulse bomb goes wide, and actually Azeel is going to be punished for a beautiful accretion from the Sigma to take the Tracer out of the fight. But this is the opening that GGTD needs, and they have to take advantage of. But that minefield catches everybody. Now everybody from the Lucio boot back into the minefield. That immortality field, not long for this world, means Brig, Shrimping, and Nobody are going to be taken down as well at the hands of Smarty. We told you that DPS was going to be lethal. 3 in the fight for the Lucio, and another team kill means that Kiira takes round number 1.
I mean, great job running that dive composition to basically perfection if you're Kiira. Never allowing GGTD to get set up on any sort of high ground or in any position that they really wanted to be in to poke from. Like, there was never a chance. That's why, like, barely anybody from GGTD even built up to their ultimates. There was no chance for them to sit there and poke. And it looks like now they're going to adjust, try and play like a Winston-based dive composition of their own.
Yeah, I think they realize that they're not going to be able to do exactly what they wanted to with that poke composition here. And so playing faster, playing in their face is going to have to be the name of the game answered back here. They made some adjustments, though, so it will be the hazard look. Meanwhile, Kiira is trying to take a page out of the other side here, still running a very similar dive that they were, but they've just simply switched over to the Sigma and Ash picks that kind of make this comp more pokey, but it now just feels like the Lucio could be out of place here. We're going to have to see as the high ground control already in the hands of Kiira. So the Sigma and Ash are going to get free reign and free shots to chuck out anytime anybody wants to peek their head. I'm sure GGTD is just going to simply wait to find their opportunity to jump onto this high ground. But actually, the point's already being pressured by the Sigma. It means that they have to acknowledge it be a little bit more careful. And yeah, Captain just in the middle of no man's land right now, stuck between a Sigma and a high ground. Smarty's going to find the first one on to Crumble here. So it's already going from bad to worse for GGTD. They do lose how to draw, though. So this could still be an opening here. 4v4 fight now as the point pressure slowly going in GGTD's favor. And yeah, now Smarty's going to jump down on point. But how long can this stall from the Lucio really last? And it got your answer right there. The first cap goes to GGTD.
That's a good wall there from Captain Size to finally catch out Smarty. The Lucio was seeming nigh unkillable for a large majority of that fight. But in that meantime, nobody really built up to any ultimates to speak of. Palm Freak getting close on this pulse bomb. But again, not much to speak of in terms of ults for either side just yet.
Nope, we're still in that mid-war, waiting to see what can be built. Lucio drops incredibly low. Smarty needs to be followed up on, but it's actually Brig Shrimping who's found out with a kunai. Smarty does manage to be traded out in the end, so it's 4v4 once again, but Captain Size goes down. A beautiful stick, actually. Don't even know how that connected onto the Ash. With the follow-up here, we're still in an intense 2v2 fight, but the Echo and the Sigma just kind of have a little bit more HP and staying presence than this Tracer does, so it's going to be Palm Freak running for the hills.
And there you go. The side of Kiira just kind of managing to stay alive for longer. And if they do, that's where their poke comp's going to win out at. Their poke comp's going to win the longer the fight goes on for. And with GGTD, you want this fight to go as quickly as possible. So like I would think here, you want to try and engage as soon as possible with this orbital ray, try and get an early kill, and just snowball the fight from there.
Yeah, and so now you're having to watch and see this poke composition again. How to draw, just being a dominant force sitting on the point, daring anyone to come close. But the orbital ray from nobody is going to start this one out. Now the gravitic flux is out, trying to connect onto anybody. Does find the Juno out of this, so everything's having to be dedicated to keep the Juno alive. Nobody's so low, but the Brig packs are there, but that means they're not there for Palm Freak, who goes down at the hands of Azila. Now with the Kitsune rush behind them, Kiira feeling a little bit more emboldened in this fight, especially with a duplicate as well. The downpour goes out. It somehow what? If I'm Captain Size, like that fight was lost, but that downpour should never have touched me.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know if that's like an EU ping thing or what we just witnessed right there, but it definitely looked like that entire downpour went down in front of Lemon Sauce and not over to the left like that. So that was very fascinating. Downpour and Blade available, as well as the rally here for GGTD. Smarty does have that sound barrier though, and that could be huge for trying to counter all these ultimates.
Yeah, and so we'll have to see as now the Bob's being thrown along with the Dragon Blade out from Crumble. It seems like the Blade's not going to get anything as Lemon Sauce is there with a focusing beam. Now it is 4v4 Smarty. Again, this Lucio is gone from the Feast or Famine. It seems like we've decided on the Famine mode right now, not really being able to do much, but it seems like GGTD has actually muscled their way back into the point.
And managing to hold on to that downpour, I think is going to be very crucial here. That could be a team fight winning ultimate if it's used properly here. And Kiira doesn't really have anything for it. You force out that protection Suzu, and you should be good to just get as many players as possible if you're Captain Size.
Yeah, and so now we're having to see exactly how this one's going to run as we're getting into the fight once again here. Almost a flip coming through for free from Kiira. The rally plus downpour combo here, but it's a double pulse bomb kill from Palm Freak actually, and that's going to be a team kill going the other way. GGTD finally finding their footing.
That was a great ult usage. Like, I like the downpour and the pulse bomb. You might wish you had that rally back if you're big shrimping, just because you're looking into a Kitsune rush and probably a gravitic flux as well from Kiira. And I'm not sure if nobody's going to be able to build up to this orbital ray in time for it.
Yeah, and so we'll have to see if that orbital ray can be there in time. But Palm Freak again coming alive, taking Azila out of the fight, giving that numbers advantage already over GGTD. But playing in the Kitsune Rush is the rest of Kiira here, and they've been able to build up a gravitic flux. Doesn't actually connect onto anybody. They are trying to find the Genji out in the back, and they do just that with a beautiful kunai here. Now, with nobody and Smarty both out of the fight, it is intense on the point. You're witnessing a Brig go so incredibly low. Finally, it's just going down here. Things are going from bad to worse. GGTD doesn't have the numbers left. It's just Captain Size trying to see what they can accomplish here. And all in all, it seems like there's only 4%. Is there going to be any touches? The Genji is there in time. It managed to get one onto Smarty here. Now the orbital ray from nobody. Going to keep all of these reinforcements alive for the time being. Could be the difference maker here. How to draw, just simply trying to land some of these shots onto somebody here. But nobody will actually be the one to look out for. Azila removed from the fight at the hands of those torpedoes. Now it is still this back and forth affair. A pulse bomb goes at the Sigma's feet, but he's able to step out of range in time. Lamani now down at the hands of nobody again. Juno getting a little bit aggressive, but Lemon Sauce is there to deal with it. A pulse bomb from, I don't even know where the second pulse bomb came from, but again, How to Draw is able to avoid that one. The Wrecking Ball's health so incredibly low. Slams into the middle of the pit, but the DPS line is starting to clean up, actually. Palm Freak and Crumble getting onto the same target in that Dragon Blade so incredibly close to being online, and here it is, but it's caught with an accretion. So we'll have to see what Crumble can actually do with this one. Does manage to find the Sigma finally here. The reinforcements on both sides absolutely ludicrous right now, but it seems like GGTD, they stalled out long enough to get back in the fight, get back in the round, and after they remove this pesky Tracer, it should be them sending us to round number 3 on Oasis.
Oh, wow. That has got to be like the most intense, prolonged final fight I think I've ever seen. Like, I don't know how they just kept rolling in over and over and over again. The orbital ray comes in from nobody, and then finally Crumble manages to build up to that Dragon Blade, which counters out Smarty's sound barrier, and they manage to finally just get every player from Kiira off that point, tie us up here, and it looks like Kiira is opting to stay on this Sigma composition. Whereas GGTD is, that makes perfect sense to me. Stay on that hazard comp. They looked incredibly strong on it. Captain Sai's doing a great job of just bouncing all around the map, getting kills here and there. Palm Freak in the back line, getting those kills with the Tracer. And I wonder if Azala has swapped over to this Cassidy as a somewhat counter for that, because now you have the Tracer to mark as well as the cast flashbang.
Potentially some adaptations, but so far, Kiira, the unbeatable team, they've been shown that they can bleed, but they can quickly correct as well. Palm Freak not allowed to go crazy yet for the time being on this round, already been neutered by the Cassidy, so now it's going to be the rest of GGTD kind of set up on this high ground here, but that does mean that Kiira is going to get the point pressure here, especially with a Baptiste in play. They're just good to go.
Absolutely. They're just going to sit here, poke and prod. Azala needs to be taken care of on this cast, though, because, I mean, taking down Palm Freak, that cannot happen multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, if that's your answer, it's going to be the best that you can do, but now the dive is here. Now that the Tracer's back in the fight, and they found the backline, they found the targets they want to. It's Smarty so incredibly low, but it is now being reciprocated on the other side. It's going to be the big Shrimpin, actually, the Lucio, that ends up getting head-hutted by Lemon Sauce here. Smarty able to live through the fight and Crumble the next to fall. Lemon Sauce really being a difference maker here. Can we get 3 in the fight for the Tracer? Nope, Azila's going to claim that one, but he'll still get nobody here, and Kiira seems back in the driver's seat.
They're doing a fantastic job of just drawing all the aggro to the front 4 players, while Lemon Sauce is just in the back line, peppering in that damage on the Tracer, just getting those final blows, as Tracers tend to do. And now with the swap over to the Baptiste by nobody, I think that's going to help a little bit more with this just extra damage that's coming in from the back line from the Tracer. I believe having that Immortality Field should help with that a good bit.
I mean, yeah, but there's also just a full-scale swap, right? We're in a poke war now, no more dive attempts at all. You're just sort of keeping on the Genji here, probably from comfort pick from Crumble. You're going to see Captain Size drop to about half HP. They're having to be a little bit careful in this engagement here. And again, it's going to be about firing off into this corridor, trying to see if enough damage can connect to result in an elimination. Crumble has to dash away from that door. Was being zoned out by Azila here. The Gravitic Flux now comes out from How to Draw, and it already finds one, looking for a second in the fight. So incredibly low is the Lucio, and you're just unfortunately in the Sigma's face. So Kiira seems like they just have this one on lock. They do end up losing Azila late in the fight here, but there's really no tools online just yet for GGTD. Meanwhile, Kiira still holding on to 4 ultimates, but they just don't need them. The Ash is going to be the last one to touch here, but this should be a map number 1 going in favor of Kiira. Maybe I called it too early. There could be potential more touches coming out from this support line. You see the Juno trying to live. Nobody is going to be taken down by Smarty here, and yeah, no second touch comes through. Kiira confidently takes round number 3 and takes Oasis.
Kiira doing a fantastic job of just adapting, realizing they were struggling a little bit when they were playing like a half dive, half poke composition. So they kind of swapped to a full-on poke and just with a tracer on the side as well. I really think the Bap Lucio swap helped them out significantly with being more grouped together as a unit more often on point number 3.
I mean, it certainly did help them in the long run, but, that second round is going to be lingering in the back of a lot of people's minds, because, again, you're supposed to be this dominant force, but even in a situation where GGTD had no right to win, right, they simply turned it back in raw clutch power, and that's not something you can always factor into these matchups here. So now, with GGTD having their pick of the field, we could go anywhere in the game, as long as it's in the map pool, of course. For our next map, I would not be surprised if they go somewhere that maybe that hazard composition can flourish a little bit better, that things like the poke and the wrecking ball just can't find as much success on.
Yeah, and that's going to be, just thinking off the top of my head immediately, Blizzard World comes to my mind. I see teams pick that a lot. You can play the poke there, but I think a dive-ish type of composition works just as well on Blizzard World. So that's the first map that definitely comes to my mind. Otherwise, you could maybe pick something like you could maybe pick something like a Dorado if you want to go for like a full-on Winston or / Diva type of dive comp. But otherwise, a lot of these maps do kind of lend themselves to more of the brawl and poke heavy comps.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of options here, and again, maybe we can see some more of that hard brawl. That's something that we didn't really get to see at all because of the nature of the comps that we were already on. But things like the Mauga, the Ramatra, the Orisa, all viable options that can come out on maps. You think of Brawl, you think of Servasa, New Junk City, either of your Flashpoint maps. You can go, even certain push maps can get away with it. I know, actually, Runesabi is right. I'm not crazy on that. Like, Runesabi could be interesting for like a Mauga meta, but it seems like all of those guesses were wrong. We are heading over to the monastery, though, so this could be potentially, I don't know, some Ramatra homeland buff? Question mark?
I mean, I think a lot of comps do play really well on this map. I personally don't like playing the map for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but a lot of different compositions tend to work on this map. More than any, though, I notice Sigma works a lot on this map, so maybe we're just looking at another poke mirror, sort of like we were playing towards the end of Oasis there.
I mean, yeah, and to be fair, the poke mirror hasn't really been given a full fair shot yet between these two teams because of how late in the round you switched. You already had the side of Kiira had their ultimates built up and things like that, so you can't really get a good gauge of how you match up in that poke mirror. So if you're confident on it, like we know that GGTD was, I mean, they started out on Oasis with a poke composition. It could be indicating that they do want to actually test that out against this team, see what they can do. But at the same time, right, like, while Sigma has worked here, I have also seen tons of different, like, fast-paced compositions also go crazy, but who knows, maybe some of those will be taken out of the way with our hero bans.
And here we are. It's going to be GGTD getting that first ban in here. So, based on last map, I feel like Wrecking Ball was the thing that was giving them the most trouble, at least on point number 1. But I don't think there's much point in banning a Wrecking Ball on Shambali. But something that I think can work incredibly well on Shambali is like, all right, I guess they are banning Wrecking Ball. Well, I should have went with my first gut instinct, I guess.
I mean, hey, just not wanting to deal with it at all. But like you said, a little bit out of place. Wrecking Ball is not really something you necessarily need to be concerned with Shambali Monastery. So, maybe could have saved that one for later in the series, but that's fine. But now, the ban on the other side. Wait, actually, okay. I just want to double check something. Yeah, it was GGTD who banned the ball.
Yes.
I just wanted to double check that because the top of the screen said that it was Kiira that did. I was very confused. But so now we're gonna have to see what Kira's ban is gonna be, and Wrecking Ball again, the double ban on the ball. Thoughts?
Both teams banning Wrecking Ball. The ban we never needed.
Oh, it's a support, potentially, probably.
It is looking like a sport.
Lucy, okay. Lucio, the voice in our head has said it. The graphics are wrong. But yeah, so Lucio being banned by Kiira, I wonder if this is like a self-hindrance of being like, listen, Smarty, you were doing a little bit of feeding there, buddy. Let's get you off that hero.
I mean, it very well could be. It could just be like you know, that actually does make some sense. If they're wanting to just play some poke mirrors, they're just like double Lucio ban. It's crazy. But no, they could just be saying something along the lines of, Smarty, we do not want you to swap off of this hero we're about to put you on and go play Lucio at any point in time.
See, as much as we're joking about this did happen this season already. I confirmed it. It was during an NA match. Granted, it was a Nightmare rotation where they banned Doomfist. That way Dirt couldn't pick it. Which, again, hilarious that a team had to ban a hero just so that their own teammate didn't self-sabotage them. But, I mean, yeah, it's going to create an interesting situation. You're probably going to be seeing Junos on both sides then. And I'd say, you know, in terms of that Juno matchup, you know, GGTD is more than happy to take it. Nobody was looking incredible on that hero, even not just with the healing, but being able to come up with a limbs in a lot of these fights as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the main reasons that they were able to clutch out the second point of Oasis. Nobody came back in, had an orbital ray right there in overtime, managed to keep everybody up, and also getting the kills. I do think, though, it all depends. It all depends, because we could be seeing like a Juno Brig, Malga, you know, Juno Brig, Romatra, or we could be seeing like a Bap Zen Sigma. And it looks like GGTD is going for that Bap Zen Sigma variation, and the Sojourn is back on the table as well, because that was banned out map number 1. So I am curious to see how well Palm Freak is going to play this Sojourn, because we saw Kiira ban it. I'm assuming because they knew how good Palm Freak was on this hero.
Potentially, right? I mean, Palm Freak on the Tracer is absolutely crazy, so no reason to think that those skills can't transfer over a little bit. But again, talking about the difference in these backlines, right? The Bap Zen is sort of the traditional poke. You discord something, you blow it up, you have the good healing coming out from the Baptiste. But on the other side, Kiira from the spawn room at the very least has found a kill onto the Widow with this Ana Iari backline. So lots of healing. You do have a little bit of damage options with Smarty here, but overall, it's going to be more on the healing side of things. So very interesting look. Not a backline we normally see paired together here. As Lemonsaw is now going to be sitting in the Sojourn Disruptor shop, probably not the safest place to sit. And it's going to be so important as well for this Safari to just play these angles, trying to be a little bit safe. Now we're seeing Captain has approached the high ground here, trying to do a little bit of poking. He's actually going to force how to draw it down, right? So they've already given up the high ground control over to this enemy Sigma. Not a position you want to be in for the defenders already losing this high ground here, but it's just going to be more and more map pressure coming out as now they're continuing to back up to this next corner. This is the safety defense spot. And again, it's just going to be a bit of a poke war.
And they're giving up a lot of space, like you were saying. And I'm not really seeing a whole lot of just overall damage coming out from the side of Kiira at the moment. This Bab Zen seems to just be outputting a lot right now.
That's the nature of it. When you get discorded, you have to flee behind the safety of some walls here. There's also a lot of things to destroy with this composition. The pylons, turrets, the whole shebang. It is going to be an immortality field forced out due to some members getting low here, so that resource is missing from GGTD for the next 20 seconds or so. Now, potentially with this poke where we have a nano boost onto how to draw, you're going to see a beautiful disengage come out from GGTD. They don't want to get caught in it at all. Now they're going to be able to walk forward. Captain Side's already having the Gravitic Flux, actually beating how to draw by about 10% here could be the X factor, but they're not choosing to go with it. They're just sitting and waiting.
Yeah, they are indeed. You would honestly want to see Captain Size try and do something with this ultimate, because there's no defensive ultimate available for Kiira, so a Gravitic Flux could be absolutely massive.
I mean, yeah, at this point, it's just the Sigma duel. Now you're aware, you just don't want to get an accretion to the face that knocks you out of that ultimate. So it's going to be now the Gravitic Flux finally coming out here, connects onto the Sigma, but Lemon Sauce actually finds one onto nobody to start this fight out. So already with that Baptiste missing out, look at all of the healing that's being dumped in to how to draw. Remember, no defensive ultimate seems to not matter for at least a bit, but finally Palm Freak will find the shot, and now a mobile barrage is taken down by Big Shrimp in here. Both Sigmas are missing from the fight, as well as there's a Bob somewhere in play. It seems like it's far away, but Palm Freak will just remove your head from your shoulders for Azila there, and now both supports are simply running for the hills, trying to see if they can get anybody back in time, and that answer is going to be no, as point A goes the way of GGTD.
And I mean, just great engage from GGTD, honestly. I love the Transcendence coming out from Big Shrimpin' right there. Really allows their team to get like incredibly aggressive into the side of Kiira. How to draw still holding on to this Gravitic Flux though, so that has to be your play here if you're the side of Kiira. You don't have anything else. You're getting close on the nano, but that's about it.
Yeah. Close doesn't count in Overwatch, but also what does count though is some beautiful shots coming through from Azila, removing Palm Freak from the fight, and that's also going to be some beautiful shots that are going to take Big Shrimpin out of the fight now. So it's just going to be a full reset from GGTD.
No, absolutely, and that's kind of what they need to do here. Just reset. Don't let anybody else get poked out for any more damage. You don't want Lemon Sauce to build up to this barrage before this next engagement happens. You can see they're already at 70% on that. GGTD, they need to get to a spot where they can engage and get Palm Freak in position to really do something with this overclock.
Yeah, and so that's going to be the hope and dream here. They're already trying to take the high ground, but with where the payload is, they're going to have to go back such an incredible distance, even if they win this fight outright, which is completely possible here. They're going to use the amplification matrix first here, but the Gravitic Flux is going to deny it, and with the Immortality Field already broken, nobody is not going to be long for this world. Now it is everybody else under fire here, and the damage is just rampant, especially with a nano-boosted Ashe and a Pharah to boot here. That's just going to be sending GGTD right back to spawn.
And Lemon Sauce getting kill after kill after kill in that fight. They've got the barrage online too. So now GGTD is just kind of stuck in this loop where they're just constantly taking all of this poke and spam damage from range. And by the time they actually make it to the location that they finally want to be at to engage in the fight, they've used all their resources. We saw that happen with nobody. All of their abilities got forced out, and then boom, just easy Gravitic Flux to take them out quickly.
Indeed here, so some adjustments have to come through here now. Back on the payload side of things, as it had rolled all the way back to the start of point B here, they're now trying to take this assault in a very particular way, including a Captive Sun going on to the back line here, but thankfully there is a Transcendence in play to keep everybody nice and healthy through those explosions, and a beautiful burst damage come through on the bomb as a barrage from Lemon Sauce pulls everybody together, including the Pharah, and that's gonna be Kiira with a team kill off the back of it.
Oh man, the moving Pharah on the barrage. First of all, it's a very funny looking animation. It looks like she's shoulder shimmying while she just kind of moves around like that. But second of all, that was a great play to just catch all of GGTD off guard, waited out the Transcendence, and then knew they had the go sign as soon as the Transcendence and the Immortality Field were out. You'd love to see that level of coordination. Now GGTD still has this overclock. I think this is the same one Palm Freak had about 2 or 3 minutes ago. So that has to come out here.
That has to come out, but anteed up so incredibly low, as Captain says, and they're going to be taken down with the accretion. So now, with less than 20 seconds remaining, GGTD has to decide if they're going to commit without their Sigma or if they're going to try to wait it out. It seems like they wanted to commit, and the commit is already failing. How to draw, trying to find some place to drop this Gravitic Flux, and it ultimately ends up going wide, but it does not matter because the damage is there from the rest of the team. The Sigma throwing out a desperation Flux, but I do not think they will make it there in time. So a beautiful point B hold at a point on point B you never see holds coming through gives Kiira a good opening to take this map.
No, absolutely. Kiira doing such a great job on that second point of not allowing GGTD to rotate without burning through all of their cooldowns in some way, shape, or form. They just, because at the end of the day, you're just kind of trading resources, and whoever can trade resources better ends up winning the fight. So essentially, Kiira just forced all the healing and defensive cooldowns out of GGTD before they even really made it to the point that they wanted to fight at. And so then by the time the fight was actually happening, Kiira had all their cooldowns. GGTD didn't really have anything, and they just kept losing the fight over and over again.
Composition just looked better for Kiira, and especially on that variation, the Ana and the Iari. While lacking a Discord, it definitely provided in other ways. Now, GGTD has a tall task ahead of them for their defense. They're opting into not playing the Zen, but they're also playing an Iari themselves now, but still with the Baptiste here. What do you make of this?
Well, it looks like it's a little bit closer to a mirror. The DPSs are the only thing that are going to be different this time. I think they're going to miss the Transcendence RGGTD because that was, to me, that was the main reason they even capped first point, was just that perfect Transcendence usage from Big Shrimpin allowed them to really aggress into the side of Kiira. They just weren't able to do that with the other Transcendences. And so now they're just going for the neutral. They like the neutral healing and just the flat higher damage output that they're going to have from this as a result of it. I think that's kind of what they're thinking here.
Let's see if that thought process is the right one here. This Sigma under fire already. Palm Freak is definitely landing some good shots now in this upper doorway. But it seems as though they're just not going to be able to do just that. Shots right now. They're just going to be healing. Eventually comes through in this back alley on how to draw here, keeping the Sigma alive. Palm Freak has to be careful. Is going to have to end up giving up control of this high ground as the Sigma has already fallen as well here. It's very similar to what happened on their attack, where they're having to give ground hand over fist to this back corner right now. They have it was a turret. I thought somebody was asleep on the floor without an Ana in play. That was confusing to see, but no, it was just a turret. Now with the Sigma shield down, they're free to fire around this corner time and again, just throwing in dynamites, whatever spam damage they want here. Both teams looking for that first kill, but Palm Freak will be the one to find it onto Azila here. Now with an accretion onto the enemy stake. It seems like GGTD want to continue to fight this, and they're more than happy to, as well as now Palm Freak has found 2 in the fight. Both DPS removed, should be sending everybody running for the hills. They want some stagger kills, and Mortality Field should prevent them unless this Baptiste can be found by Palm Freak, and absolutely a freak of nature.
Oh, I mean, just great shots coming in from this Sojourn of Palm Freak. And you could see the difference, right? This is what Palm Freak looks like when they have the position already and they don't have to do all this different rotating around the map just to get in a spot to shoot their shots. They can land the shots. They just were not able to get where they needed to in round 1. And now, having to retreat, and that's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, it is close indeed here, but now we're going to see how these teams want to approach things. Kiira is going to be walking forward here, trying to find some more advantage now that they have something. They've got a Gravitic Flux out against them, though, from Captain Sizz, is going to be throwing people to the ground, but an Immortality Field is going to keep everybody nice and healthy. Now a Flux reciprocated on the other side, and Captain Sizz so incredibly low, needs that Baptiste healing, but you're hiding from your Baptiste. You cannot do that! The Amplification Matrix was enough. Now Iari's trading out Captive Sons here, but it seems like Big Shrimpins was just a little bit larger with the help of nobody as well, but they're now trading ultimates still, and the bomb from Azila is coming up massively here. How to Draw just has to live for the time being, and they've done that, so now we are seeing what is probably a point A cap.
I mean, the Bob and Captive Son combo was incredible right there. Bob just setting off all of those different explosions and then finishing up the kills as well. That's one of the most successful Bobs I think I've seen in a long time. And with that being said, GGTD burnt everything outside of their overclock. Overclock's available, and there's a blade available from Lemon Sauce. Azala going down, though, is tough for Kiira.
Yeah, missing that main damage source. What is going to be brutal here. 3 things broken in the kill feed, not one of them a person here. And yeah, that's just going to be a complete disengage from Kiira. They do not want to deal with anything without their Ash player. How to Draw incredibly low. It seems like it's the story of their life. But they are now pulling a Dragon Blade in the middle of all this Lemon Sauce. I mean, I appreciate the confidence, but you don't have your team with you. Now at least it's going to be traded out, though, so you are in a positive situation. If you are the side of Kiira, you have this one number advantage here. You're seeing Captain Size desperately trying to build up to this gravitic flux. There's only so few meters left to hold here, but now the Sigma's missing for the fight. Nobody else is going to be able to get to the cart, and it's just going to roll on in, and Kiira now finds themselves one map away from this mid-season championship.
And Kiira, so far, they seem to just understand the ebbs and flows better of these poke compositions than the side of GGTD does. Like, and prime example was right there in the middle of that fight. They lose a couple of players, they back off until their players get back, and then they just walk in with an amplification matrix while the entire team is paying attention to a blading Genji, so they're not able to immediately just turn and look at an amp matrix, so they all just immediately go down to that ultimate. It's great timing and ult usage there at the end from Kiira.
Especially when there's so few meters left to give here. Kiira, they're proving to be the dominant team that we knew they were, but GGTD, now with their backs against the wall, they have to see if they can come up with an answer to what's being thrown at them, but that answer will have to come on the other side of a quick break. So go ahead, get yourself some snacks, do whatever you need to do, because you got to have your butt back here in the seat to watch the rest of this match go down on the other side of it. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say
welcome on back. Hopefully you did any and everything you needed to do, because we've got ourselves a match on our hands to decide a crown for the mid-season here. We've got Kiira up 2-0, only one map away from that victory. GGTD looking for a bounce back potential here. They've had moments, Shadow, but overall it really has been Kiira favored.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. GGTD has had moments here and there where they look like they can really compete on the same level with Kiira, but Kiira seems to just make an immediate adjustment whenever that happens, and GGTD doesn't have like the counter punch available after the counter punch that Kiira makes to them. And that's really been the difference between these two teams so far, and I'm hoping that GGTD can make a recovery on this next map.
That is the hope. But speaking of the next map, we already know where we're going. It is going to be Blizzard World. I should say Shadow was predicting it earlier. I wasn't anywhere near thinking about Blizzard World, I'm going to be real. But yeah, so it is finally coming into play here. GGTD's third pick. And it's an interesting one to say the least, because, I mean, we were talking about it a little bit during the break. They already wasted their Wrecking Ball ban. So now, having Ball on one of the best maps for it in the game could be problematic.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to deal with, because I'm thinking GGTD must be thinking that they want to run a dive comp of their own. I would imagine a Winston or a Diva. Maybe they also like Wrecking Ball, but I feel like we would have seen Wrecking Ball by now if they like it. And I mentioned this when we were in break as well, but I think GGTD is about to have a bit of an overreaction to what happened on the last map. And I think they're going to use their ban on Pharah here. I think a better ban here would be something along the lines of, I actually like that a lot better. I like Echoes much better than Pharah on this map. This is a really good Echo map, and it's the same sort of concept. You don't want to deal with that flying character. Echo's incredibly good with the Wrecking Ball dive that could potentially be incoming. I like that. And it also stops Kiira from banning Sombra if you want to just play a Sombra and harass the Wrecking Ball that could be coming in from Kiira.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a good ban all around here, but now Kiira has the floor. Figure out the best way to potentially enable their Wrecking Ball. It could be, I would say a Torb ban, but they can't go to the DPS slot, so potentially worrying about Zenyatta Discords, Briggs booping them around, potentially. I mean, there's tons of different options. I'm not gonna lie, whenever I see this ban screen, all I think about is Zarya being on her by herself in that bottom corner. But speaking of tanks, it will be a tank ban, and Hazard's out of the play, which is a good ball counter as well.
So you see Zarya down in that bottom corner. I just think, why is Winston's head so much bigger than every other character on the screen right now? Winston is massive on that ban screen. And Kiira, the only sub-map they lost, the only time they've really felt under any sort of pressure at all was against the Hazard comp. So, I mean, that makes sense to me. Hey, let's get rid of any possibility of that hero coming out. I don't necessarily think the Hazard was going to come out on this map, but let's just get rid of the possibility of even having to deal with it.
Yeah, and so now, just to go ahead and remove that option, like you said, from the fight here, it means that, GGTD, if they're going to win this map out and start a reverse sweep, it's going to have to be on raw skill, potentially matching heroes, whether it's going to be a Wrecking Ball or, we have seen teams run some brawl comps, at least for point A and C, to mix levels of success, right? I always think, flashing back to, it was one of the matches last season, but there was basically a flying Malga that had a lineup to get from the forward high ground on point A all the way to the back, running over the hay bales and stuff. It was crazy, something you had to be there for. But I mean, overall right now, right, it is on GGTD to find these responses. As Kiira, they've been the ones adapting, figuring things out as they've needed to, and GGTD just hasn't been able to keep up.
No, they've always started off strong. It feels like GGTD has started off strong. Kiira's had a rebuttal. GGTD does not have a rebuttal for the rebuttal. And that's kind of what needs to happen here. GGTD needs to continue to come out strong and just have a couple of ideas ready. And it's not even necessarily swapping your heroes up. Maybe it's just swapping the way you rotate around the map. Maybe it's just swapping up your positioning ever so slightly so that you can force the fights where you want to take them at, not where Kiira wants to take them at. Kiira's kind of making you play their game right now. And if you're GGTD, you need to do something to make Kiira play the way that you're wanting to play.
And so time will tell now. Let's see if these adaptations, like you said, will force people to change how they're going to play. Kiira right now currently on something that looks a little bit more the same. Of course, besides the Zenyatta, they did opt into a very interesting backline, but they are on the they're on the defense rather. So they could be trying out this BAP Zen that we know is more traditional. As a pause is being asked for here. They're double checking, making sure we are indeed on the European servers. That is a concern. You don't want two teams playing on 100+ ping. That's never fun for anybody. So a good thing to double check. Okay, just an issue with the one player. We were on the right servers. Shout out to our lovely observers. The only one who ever messes it up is Mara, so we should all make fun of Mara in our free time. I think that's a good idea. I love starting beef that is never going to have anything come from it because I know Mara will not watch this back.
No, I feel that for sure. I mean, so I guess we're just kind of waiting on this one player to get their ping sorted out, make sure everything's good for them. And especially, I believe it was Lemon who is the one playing Tracer. You especially don't want to be having ping or lag issues just in a general sense on Tracer of all heroes. That's a very precise, I need to be right here at this point in time, throwing out my pulse bomb at the right moments. You can't be lagging on Tracer, so I definitely understand why they're going for the pause here. And I honestly hope that the side of GGTD swaps off of the Life Weaver and goes over to the Brig, but they're probably just throwing down a pedal for like an early Widow shot or something.
That's immediately what I am thinking of, but yeah, it's just sort of waiting to see what these teams actually end up opting into. Because again, you have little niche strategies like that. The Life Weaver pedal shot is pretty much the best thing that Life Weaver's ever offered to the game. As much as people love the character, he's just unfortunately a tad bit behind in doing anything else. But overall, 10 out of 10. Just sort of waiting. Just
no, absolutely.
I feel like we've just discussed Blizzard World so much. Like we've kind of done our yapping, and now it's just sort of just seeing how things are going. You know what I want to give a shout out to? I want to give a shout out to Daylight Savings or Spending, whichever one. Just ruining scheduling for today, confusing everybody. Because we do it like 3 hours before the UK does it for some reason.
Yeah.
And so it just messes up the schedule and confuses everybody. It's great.
Yeah, no, that did throw me off a little bit today. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got lucky, got home on time, so we were still able to get this broadcast going here. And I mean, I'm really hoping that Kiira can figure out their lag issues. I'm sure somebody's probably having to like restart the game or something. That's usually what happens at this point. If it's taking this long, I imagine somebody's having to unplug and plug something back on.
Okie dokie. Seems like player has rejoined the lobby. Now we're just getting everything set back up. Since they were, making sure that they have ample time to get to the point, get set up on their heroes. They don't want to be at a disadvantage of any kind or anything like that. It's going to be super, super crucial here, but should be hopefully starting momentarily. We love tech issues. Tech issues are the best thing in the world. They really test our ability to be knowledgeable and yap for long periods of time. Unfortunately, I just don't have that yapping into me today, so this is sort of a failure on my part. But yeah, it's maybe not the best to run out of yap power when this whole gig here. The whole point is to yap.
I mean, it happens to the best of us every so often. Looking around at Blizzard World here, honestly, a really well-made map. I always like all the different views our observers get us because I would never notice any of this stuff while I'm playing. I just see like the lanes and how to go to point. I swear every single time I'm casting a game, there's at least one new area of a map where I'm just like, where in the world is this even at? So I always appreciate that.
Yeah. Listen, observers finding the weird side angle that you would never expect or see coming is always the crucial factor in these matchups. But now we are seeing the setup on the high ground is here. We do have that Babsen backline that we were expecting here. And now GGTD, like we said, is most likely just a pedal for a Widow shot. But no, it's actually a grapple. Okay, now the pedal goes out beyond after the fact. Not really sure what the pedal did there then, but now we're over on the Ana brig like we should be here. Now we're gonna have to see how this dive wants to approach, especially since they're lacking in speed. It's gonna be the Winston jumping the high ground. Ultimately drops so incredibly low already just off of jumping up there alone, and it is going to result in a death. But Palm Freak able to trade it out, actually finds Azila on that Ashe character. Just being able to remove that from the fight makes this a 4v4 engagement.
Yeah, but with Captain Size just missing that bubble placement onto the high ground, you're having to wait for your Winston to come back now. And that was such a crucial miss on that bubble because now you're just sitting here and waiting and just poking at each other when you could be aggressing onto the point if you still had your Winston alive.
Yeah, and so now we are seeing this aggression, like you said, onto the high ground here, but it is going to be from the defense, actually, trying to take space as everybody else from GGTD has moved themselves over to the point, trying to be a little bit careful and cautious, to say the least. Trying to see what can be done here, but it is going to be the defenders sort of rushing back in, ready to go here. Oh, this Tracer can be found out here. Lemon Sauce has to be very, very careful. All it takes is one shot of the rail gun. Already missed one, though. Means that the Tracer is going to be able to get out with their life. Meanwhile, the rest of the dive is just half HP hiding behind the point here. Attackers have become defenders and vice versa here. This map geometry has flipped now with the Ana missing, though. GGTD is just looking for a way out, but Crumble does find one onto Lamani, so this is still possible here. Even with Crumble going down, they're gaining more space, but it seems like their opportunity has long passed. They are able to get the Transcendence out from Smarty, but overall, this is going to be another reset on the attack.
And again, it really feels like GGTD can't quite get their dives set up in time to like really go together as a team right now. Everybody's just kind of going in one at a time. You'll see a random person get a kill, but it was just kind of like a sick individual play. It's not like a full committed team dive. And if you want to be able to take down this entire team of Kiira, you have to commit a team dive and take down each player one by one.
Yeah. And so now we have to see how this could potentially go. And Nano Boost onto the Winston. Gonna run into the backline, find one immediately onto Lamani and Smarty, both now with that backline removed. That's exactly what you want from your Nano Winston here. So it seems like the defense has crumbled off the back of it. And it is just going to be Lemon Sauce ready with a potential last second touch. But overall, it should be GGTD getting the point.
And there we go. GGTD does a great job of just grouping up together. I imagine they even had like a count before their Winston actually went in with that nano boost. They knew the Transcendence was out. They had gotten out the Immortality field as well. So that's a free just walk for your Winston. And nice pulse bomb coming out from Lemon Sauce. That's probably going to result in a little bit of a pullback from GGTD.
Yeah, they can't go super aggressive. They can't like hold these high grounds very aggressively or anything like that, but still this car is going to move through that first choke point here, and now we're going to be sort of starting to move into the middle and back half of point B. Now you see the Ashe playing this super long distance. Again, even for a Winston, it's going to be incredibly difficult to actually get back here onto the Ashe. Now a Blade actually being pulled from Crumble, manages to make their way to the high ground, but unfortunately you found an Ashe waiting for you. That doesn't miss. That's two for Azila in the fight. Knows the Brig is pinned down thanks to the Bob looking for a third. How to Draw will be able to clean that one up, and just a beautiful Bob negates the Blade and keeps this defense strong.
And here we go. We're right here. This is essentially where you just got held at on Shambhala. It's like the equivalent point spot. And now what are you going to do as GGTD to really clear this team of Kiira? I think right now what you need to do is just take this high ground. Don't take the bait of this Sigma down main. You need to go clear off this high ground, and I like that Captain Size is already jumping over there.
Yeah, and trying to, do these little jumps and being careful with it is going to be the name of the game here. Because, again, you don't want to fall down or just be taken out. Now another Nano Boost ready to go here. Could it be GTD's engagement attempt here, but it is actually going to be a railgun follow-up with just a regular leap, takes Smarty out of the fight, even though Palm Freak now down to Azila, getting some clean shots once again here, and the defenders have done an excellent job of just flipping the point.
They are indeed, and you might be able to catch this Baptiste out in rotation if you're the side of GGTD.
Yeah, because now look at this. We've invested Rally to try to rotate over to the cart, but it seems like Kiira is cleaning up the fight very well here. You do have an anti how to draw here on the Sigma, having to be a little bit careful, but thanks to that kinetic grasp, able to get some shield health going while that Zen orb does the rest of the job, healing you back up.
And here we are, Kiira in position on that high ground again. And what do you have to do here, GGTD? You have to go over there and clear those supports off again. Like, you can't just let them sit back there and pump all their healing and damage down from that spot. So you're stuck in the same spot you just were a moment ago.
Yeah, you're stuck, and now that Winston is going to jump forward, not with a nano yet. I thought there was a nano apply, but it's just simply the anti on top of the Sigma that was making things look a little bit dire here. Now you're seeing Smarty potentially holding on to this Transcendence, knowing that the nano Winston could be coming at any moment here. This composition is going to have to give up some ground from the defense here. How to draw, having to stay as healthy as possible. Now some railguns going astray here. The nano Winston plus Palm Freak able to find one onto Lamonti here, so now a major source of healing down from the fight means Azila is going to be the next to fall. But even without the healing, it seems like the defense is starting to hold strong here. This Zen so incredibly low should end up going down to the Sojourn here at the very end. But the Tracer just simply blinks back, and Lemon Sauce says, how about we get you back to spawn, buddy?
Oh, that was so close if you're GGTD. You almost did enough to win that fight there. Palm Freak managing to get a couple with that 150 charge overclock. But now you're just stuck here having to deal with a pulse bomb, and then Azila has this Bob online, and you don't really have anything, and it's overtime.
Yeah, overtime already burning. 2 members missing. Now the Brig and the Lucio trying to stay alive as long as they can, but that shield is not going to stand the test of time against the Sigma, and it seems like Lamonti is going to be able to want to claim those final blows, and similar to Shambali, point B is where this attack is going to stop for GGTD.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of the same thing as last time, GGTD. They had the Nano Winston play on point 1. Kiira adjusted. They had something ready for the Nano Winston play on point 2, and you didn't have a follow-up punch for it. You used the Nano Winston. It didn't work, and your entire team died in the process, like while the Nano Winston was just trying to kill Smarty with the Transcendence there. And it's just, I mean, every single time Kiira was pushing in, they would lose somebody in the rotation. It was the exact same as Shambali, just with different heroes. They're losing a player in rotation every single time. By the time they actually make it to the back line, they might be able to trade out a kill or two, but because they've lost their supports in the process, they are eventually just going to lose to how to draw his health. Like that was just eventually what was happening every single time.
It was what was happening. So now GGTD, they've been in this position before, but now it is do or die. If they want any chance of this series continuing on to a map number 4, they cannot give up more than 82 or 84.92 meters on point B. That's all they have to hold. Kiira on their attack, also going to take the Widow shot here. Again, a Life Waiver platform that ends up just being cosmetic, if anything else. And it is going to be continued of the poke composition here. GGTD on what looks to be a lot of comfort picks potentially. You have a double speed boost for a Diva, Crumble on the Torbjorn here, potentially trying to poke people out, and Palm Freak just doing what they can on Soj here. Azila has found Ring Shrimpin already though, so now it is Palm Freak trying to find one. That railgun ends up going wide. That Diva mech already incredibly low for captain size. Has to be careful. Smarty found one onto nobody, and things are going from bad to worse as Kiira is already making strides on point A.
Oh, and I mean, it's honestly looking like GGTD might already have a little bit of that mental booming going on. An immediate D-mech coming out on the captain's size. What a nice accretion.
Yep, and so that'll be point A done and dusted here. 5.5 minutes for Kiira to get that 84.9 meters, as we said before. Nobody gets an exit kill onto Lamonti, but I'm sure that Baptiste will be back in the fight.
No, absolutely. They'll make it back very quickly. Not really coming up on any ultimates yet. That's how fast that first point cap came through. Lemon Sauce going to be the first one to get anything with that Pulse Bomb, but GGTD making all these wholesale swaps, they might not even get an ultimate before this map ends at this rate because they're only going to have one more fight here.
Yep, that golden box of victory is looming here. GGTD, they've got to stand their ground. They're going to be trying to take control of the high ground, focus down on this Ashe. Azila has the coach gun to get away for the time being. Meanwhile, the payload is just moving the entire time. Now with Crumble catching a rock to the face, things are already almost done here. 3 meters left, 3 defenders make it 2 for GGTD. A Transcendence to celebrate a victory a little bit early, but it gets the job done. Kiira, untouchable right now in the Diamond tier as they take the mid-season championship.
I mean, it seemed like every single time GGTD would figure out something, and then Kiira had a response every single time. And it wasn't even necessarily swapping heroes, it was just swapping playstyles. There's like, okay, you understand how to play this way, but do you understand how to play this way instead? Because we know how to respond to what you're doing. Can you respond to our response to what you're doing?
The swaps, the adaptations, it's what's allowed Kiira to be so strong in this Diamond tier. They get a trophy for it, and I'm sure they have some lovely words to speak to everybody. So we're going to throw it to another quick break. We're going to set up an interview with somebody from the side of Kiira. Not sure who yet, but once we get back, we'll be able to hear all of the lovely tales of victory. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem.
Alrighty, an interview was promised, and we have two members of our mid-season champion squad here. We have How to Draw and Smarty in the interview booth with us. Obviously, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Now, coming into this matchup today, you guys, you've only dropped a single map, and it was to this GGTD squad. You know, was there any thoughts of that lingering on your mind, or just sort of pure confidence knowing how good you guys were?
No, I think it was more so pure confidence. Like, the map we dropped on, I think it was like an Ilios control. It's one of those where you just kind of, you know, you come out slow, you know, you kind of forget about it quickly and you get on with it. So yeah, no, we weren't too worried.
We're perennially slow starters when it comes to scrims or games. We quite often drop the first map, but we slowly pick it up. I mean, we dropped a point to them again in this one, so
yeah.
I'd take fall for that one.
We dropped the map first time, we dropped a control point this time, you know, it's progress. Like next map, or next match, we, you know, maybe we don't drop any control points to them, slow progress.
Well, alright, I mean, I'm just going to ask my first question here is just related to what is the thing that's making you want to play this Sigma composition so often? Because I've been seeing a ton of Malga in like a lot of the games I've seen so far. So what is prompting you to go hard over into this Sigma?
I think it just suits us. Like, I'm pretty comfortable in Sigma, discounting all the fluxes I misses. I hope Stream didn't catch those, but you know, now I've drawn attention to them, you know, I've kind of given the game up. But yeah, I think it just like suits us a lot. We don't, I mean, we play a lot of Sigma. We don't normally play this much Sigma. It kind of just worked out. It's, I mean, where their like last like regular season game, we saw them, they like locked Sigma like all of a sudden, or like all the maps. And like they were like, they played a lot of Hazard before, so we thought they were maybe hiding strat. So like we were kind of surprised when they came out on Sigma, and we were happy enough to take the Sigma. We're pretty confident in it.
The Malga comp means that I end up having to play Brig. And if I can avoid playing Brig, we'll play that comp instead.
He's lying. He loves Brig. He just likes complaining.
No, I definitely get that. I definitely get that. And then I guess my follow-up question is going to be related to the first comp that you actually came out on. So you just were happy to take the mirror and you opted to not play more of that Wrecking Ball comp, because it seems like they had no idea what to do with that Wrecking Ball based composition. So why not pivot more into that, do you think?
Yeah, no, the Wrecking Ball felt like pretty free. I think it's just like we have like set comps that we play on maps, which we just happen to end up on a lot of Sigma, and then like, you know, there's a few times where we thought like, you know, we're comfortable enough taking the Sigma mirror against them. It was kind of just, you know, keeping it simple, not like overcomplicating things.
Yeah, they banned ball for second map.
Second map, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which we might have ended up on it, but for Oasis, we know what we can win on, and especially if they when they locked the Hazard again on second and we lost that one, we knew that we are very comfortable beating the Hazard comp on Sig.
Yeah, it's like a free rock, you just dump damage into him.
So we knew that if we just kept playing our Sig comp, we should have zero problems beating them if they keep blocking Hazard.
Yeah. Also, the playing ball on the Oasis, was it Gardens, is actually pretty new. We used to do like Winston Brig Ana a lot there, but I think they banned Ana that map, so we kind of just leaned into Lucio carry ball.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, if it's not broke, don't fix it. In terms of, you know, while it could be a fun, serious question about, oh, how good you guys are, stuff like that, I instead want to point out the one round you lost, because one of the two of you in here died a lot. Smarty, do you want to maybe comment on the Lee J. Gone impression you were hitting on that university round?
So I had 0 deaths in the first round. I think after the second round I had 8. So look, the very first fight, I won my 1v1 versus the Genji. I felt so confident to keep taking the fights versus their DPS. and then their DPS just shit on me 8 times. I was like, but I'm gonna call out Azalea for coach gunning into me when he was stuck by Pulse Bomb. Don't think I've forgotten. I saw this.
You know, we could say it's smart he was putting on Lee Jig on impression, or we could say that he has a ton of mental resilience and kept taking the drill. You know, nothing could get him down. We can frame it positively.
Hey, listen. Well, either way, the job got done here. If you guys, give you the floor for a second, any shout outs you'd like to make, anything like that before we send you on your way?
Just shout out to our teammates and our coaches. Do you have any more shout outs, Marty? I think that's it, right?
I have like a few friends watching in a Discord.
Oh yeah, shout out to friends who are watching as well. I have a few watching too.
And who are probably roasting me, especially for that 8 death round of Oasis, which might be a record, by the way. So I'm gonna look at that one.
The 8 deaths, the missed fluxes, we don't talk about them. Didn't happen.
I know Vass is gonna roast me for that one when I get back as well. Oh my god.
All right. Well, appreciate y'all for coming to chat with us. Go ahead and celebrate that mid-season championship win here, and we look to see y'all continue that domination throughout the regular season.
Yeah, thank you. See you later. Bye.
Yeah.
And just like that, Shadow, another match is done here in the mid-season, and it just shows how quickly it can go by.
Yeah, no, this tournament went by insanely fast. We are still going to have I believe it's just going to be one NA match later on today. I don't think we have multiple.
I think we have 2. I think
we have 2?
Scheduled different.
Okay. We have 2 matches coming up later today, though, so you're going to want to make sure got those notifications turned on, either in the Discord or on Twitch, or both, honestly. Either one. And, just keep an eye out for those, because you're definitely going to want to watch those grand finals.
Exactly. Of course, we got shout outs of our own. Obviously, shout out to Head Rammer for running the production. It was Unfeatured and Bakery. Bakery was our other observer. I don't know why. Every time I think of Bakery, I want to say Bagel. That's just not a person. But anyway, shout out, because again, if they weren't doing the in-game stuff, then we wouldn't be able to bring y'all these matches. And speaking of the matches, we have to shout out y'all watching, right? CGL only exists because of the constant feed from the community here, so we love you all, we appreciate you all, but we're gonna get up out of here. Tune into NA later tonight. Peace.
Game straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.